What's up everyone, Brady Fugale here coming at you with another video. Today I'm going to be talking about another one of my favorite albums, From Birth to Burial by 10 Years. It came out on April 21st, 2015, so about 9 years ago now. And this is definitely an album that has grown on me significantly, specifically within the last few years. And I think I can attribute that to simply my music tastes evolving and maturing a little bit. Because I'm finding more and more often that songs that I fucking loved when I was like in high school and younger, I can't even listen to now. And then on the flip side, there are other songs and albums that came out around that time that I either didn't like or I was lukewarm on that I listen to now and I'm like, holy shit, this is fucking awesome. And I wouldn't say I disliked this album back in the day, but I definitely slept on it a bit. But listening to it recently, this is by far 10 Years' most intricate and progressive and dynamic, diverse album they have ever done. Because without getting too broad here, I think their debut album, Autumn Effect, was great, but the albums in between that one and this one weren't necessarily bad, they just didn't stick out a whole lot. They were kind of just your run-of-the-mill alternative metal, hard rock type albums, with a few decent songs on each one. And I'll say the same, honestly, about the two albums that followed this one. 2017's How to Live as Ghosts, which was released only 2 years after this one, and 2020's Violent Allies. This album specifically to me stands out so much in comparison to their other albums. To start with, one of the most obvious reasons behind this is that this is by far their heaviest record. I'm talking Triggers and Tripwires, I'm talking Crimson Kiss, I'm talking the title track. These are all songs that feature vocalist Jesse Hasek actually full-on screaming in some parts. Yet these tracks are also balanced out with that ominousness, if that's a word, that kind of encompasses this entire record. The title track in particular has such a unique and cool balance in the way it kind of transitions from the slow, somber, keyboard-driven verses and that really fast-paced and stomping chorus. It also has Jesse Hasek's most dynamic vocal performance, going from, again, screams, very somber, clean vocals, as well as almost these rap-like vocals before that first chorus kicks in. Crimson Kiss is another one that has a very good balance between heaviness and melody, with obviously the opening scream, which is a full-on metal scream from Jesse Hasek, which is immediately then followed by, again, those more somber, clean vocals in that first verse. The chorus of that song as well has such a cool trade-off between the harsh vocals and the clean vocals. Jesse is definitely one of those vocalists that really knows how to use his voice and the way his voice sounds to his advantage, and he does it in a way that fits the music so well. There are several moments on this album that he almost sounds a little pitchy, but it kind of adds to the chaos that the song is trying to convey. Again, some examples of that would be the verses in Triggers and Tripwires, where he's pretty much yelling, and his voice does sound very pitchy, but it sounds so unique, and it really fits the mood of the song so well. The bridge of Selling Skeletons is another example of that, just getting way up there. And on the other side of that, the more somber songs on here also have excellent vocal performances. Luna, Survivors, the closing track Moisture Residue. Jesse Hasek's softer sounding vocals sound fucking awesome in these more, again, somber, calmer songs. And he really does kill it on this album. I absolutely love his vocal performance on the entire record. Definitely a significant strength that this record has. Another aspect of this album that I really like, that again separates this album from a lot of 10 Years' other albums, is this prog, almost Tool-like influence. There's some really prominent and intricate bass lines on this album that I think are really cool. That oddly timed bridge section where it gets quiet in the song Crimson Kiss is a really good example of that. Especially being one of the heavier songs, that little section just adds a really unique extra mood to the song and an extra layer. And the entirety of the song Ashes, which is one of my favorite songs on the album. That creeping bass line in the verses makes the song sound like it is straight out of the show Stranger Things. Even with the main hook being ashes to ashes, dust to dust, which is like one of the most overused lyrics in rock music now. The instrumental arrangements in this song easily make up for that and forgive that. The song Miscellanea also has some cool polyrhythms going on. There's actually a 6/4 riff playing over a 4/4 section, which again, that simple addition of that extra complexity really adds to the song and makes it stand out. Piano sections are another really cool extra layer that a lot of these songs have. The intro to the song The River, again, Ashes, the intro to that song. You got that piano section that kind of splices in and out of the song Miscellanea, which actually ends up being the main groove to the song Moisture Residue, which closes the album. This album is just so dark and so moody. And these little somber sections really add to that feeling greatly. Like, even today, I live in the Chicago suburbs, and it was just raining all day today, and I had this album on loop. This is a perfect album for a rainy spring day where it's just gloomy and you just want some moody, dark music that fits that atmosphere so well. In both a way that is churning and murky and also a way that's very somber. This album has a tremendous amount of both of those vibes. And it's definitely an album that is an example, as we've seen in other albums, of turmoil and uncertainty ultimately leading to the band releasing their best album. Alter Bridge AB3, Slipknot, Iowa, A Day to Remember, Common Courtesy. Those are all albums where it was either supposed to be the band's last album, the band was going through a bunch of turmoil or having legal issues at the time, the band or members as a whole being in very dark places during the recording of the album. But ironically, it ends up being the best album by that band. Because if you're a hardcore fan of this band, you'll remember that From Birth to Burial was supposed to be 10 Years' final album, which is why they named the album From Birth to Burial. But in the process of making what was supposed to be their last album, which was an album full of these dark feelings, which, if you know that background information now, it kind of makes a little more sense. In the process of that, they made their most complex, dark, heavy, diverse, dynamic album to date. The album has excellent flow, excellent balance. I don't think there's a single bad song on here. The lyrics on here are very interesting and thought-provoking. None of these songs are boring or generic or overproduced. Just the balance they struck with this record is perfect. So that about does it for this video. If you have not checked out this album and you are a fan of the band or a fan of similar bands, I highly recommend doing so. And as always, thank you very much for watching. Feel free to subscribe for more rock and metal related content. And until next time, I'll see you guys. Peace.